So this is Wednesday, June 10th, Keystroke Live, and we're doing kind of a series on some of the Keystroke advanced features. I'm going to be talking about navigation menus today. Next week is Lynn talking about sales scripting, and that will be followed in the last week of June by Mike Tabor talking about recurring invoicing. So just a few of the neat features here. Remember, Keystroke Live is every Wednesday at 10 o'clock Mountain Time, same login information. Try to keep that pretty simple. Today I'm talking about navigation menus. It's available in Keystroke Advanced POS. You can kind of think of it as a home page. It's something we kind of put in there. It's really just another type of toolbar that's kind of a whole page freestanding toolbar. And really the purpose of this session today for me is to give you some ideas on ways to use it, ways I use it, just other things you can do with the navigation menu. It is controlled by an XML file, and you can edit that directly. You can also use the button editor that's within Keystroke, or you can use a separate XML editor that we will take a look at. So I am going to switch to Keystroke here, and oh, there's my help. I don't want that. Just want to clerk in, and so as you enter Keystroke, in Keystroke Advanced, you get the navigation menu. Again, this is just a toolbar. This is kind of our default layout. We are trying to keep it simple. Within the XML file, you can change fonts, colors, button sizes, and shapes, and that gets a little more complicated, and I'm going to kind of just show you how easy it is to use to do different things here just right within Keystroke. So you've probably looked at it that you can say, okay, I want to do a layaway. You click on layaway, and it takes you to a layaway transaction. I can just click on the nav menu here. I can say database and go to my clerk database. So that's a little bit easier than, okay, say if I was back in the sales manager, to go exit database, I get into database, then I select clerk and edit. So it's kind of a quicker way to jump around if you're getting used to that. So there's moving around Keystroke. That's one thing you can do with the navigation menu. Other things you can do is you can use it to launch outside programs. So I set up an example here. Say I look at the labels, and maybe I use the Godex label printer. So I can come in here and say print tags or print by sales, but I can also launch the Godex label editor. So if I click that, and I'm going to have to, it launches this QLabel program that is from Godex used to edit their labels. And if I go back to Keystroke, again, that was just using labels, and then this Godex labels, launch that program right out of Keystroke. You can make that easy if you have a customer doing that kind of thing. I also, you can use it to, say, launch a report. So here we have run a saved report, yesterday's sales, today's sales. I also set up a report and a report queue that's the top 10 selling items this year by quantity. So I can just click that, and it's going to run a report. I actually did it for a couple of years in the tutor data, or else I wouldn't get anything. If I zoom in on this a little bit so you can see it, but it's got top 10 items by quantity. So I'm going to go ahead and close this. I'll show you how I set that up just so that you can do it. And what I'm going to end up doing here is I'm going to go I'm in the report manager right here right now, so I'm going to select Queue and Setup and Reports, and I have my top 10, and that's actually my top 10 by quantity. I'm going to go ahead and add another report. So I'm going to add new settings, select Inventory, Sales Analysis, and I'm going to do Inventory. And so the other one was by quantity sold. I'm going to do this by gross revenue. And then I just mark my maximum number of inventory items is going to be 10, so that I only get the top 10 grossing items. Select that, and I'll just call this top 10 by revenue. And I'll go ahead and save that. So now I can come and say set up groups. I've got my top 10 group where I've got my top 10 by quantity, and then I can add another one, top 10 by revenue. So this is the report group. If you see right here where my mouse is, the ID number is 2. So that's important because my toolbar button is tied to that ID number. So I'm just going to hit F10 to save that. I can select my nav menu and reports, and I'm just going to right click this. Now also I want you to notice here in my macro, and I know it's probably small, and I'm just going to say call this top 10 items because now it's by, I'm doing it by quantity and by revenue. But in this, we're doing run report QID equals 2, start equals 1, and I have 12 in there. If it was just for this year, I would leave the year off, just put 1 period 1, and then it's always going to start on January 1st and end equals blank. So that's what is going to kick off the report. And so I'm not using, there's another option in here. If I click this button editor here, this lookup, I get all my choices, and there's run menu, run macro, run, send keys. I'm not doing send keys to say, oh, hit Alt X to pull down the menu, select R for reports, select I for inventory, and A for analysis, because I'm shortcutting all that by just automatically calling that run report queue. So I'm not, wherever I am, it'll work. I'm not pulling out all those individual keys. It's a much neater, cleaner to use the run report or run menu commands. So I am just going to go ahead and save this. And you see my description change, top 10 selling items. And when I click it, it's going to run my 2 reports. Here's my top 10 by quantity, with shipping and chocolate being my top 2 sales items. And if I close that, here is my top 10 by revenue that, okay, QuickBooks, I made $700, XP 400. My chocolate is down there, what, number 6 or 7 on revenue, even though was one of the top items sold. So I'm going to go ahead and close that report and pull up my nav menu again. Something else I set up here, hopefully I set up here, is here's a button I set up, and we're going to go to www.keystrokepos.com, and I'm just going to call this www.keystrokepos.com. So now I have a button, and if I click it, it's going to launch Internet Explorer and open keystrokePOS.com. So I'm going to click it, and then I'm going to have to switch to Internet Explorer. So I click it, it runs that, and then I just need to open up my Internet Explorer, and so it just launched and took me there. So you can do this for a lot of different things. And let's see if this works here. So what I did, let me switch back to Keystroke. On air. So here, if I look at my nav menu, and let's see, what am I, I got my reports. Nope, that's not it. Open. Let's go back here. And I got too many keystroke things open here. I'm going to let me get cleaned up here. Close all my reports. And there we've got keystroke. Let's see what we can do here. Oh, and I don't know if I have the right data here. So what I'm going to do now is, this is a little bit different, but what I did set up was the nav menu, and I can just go ahead and do this again here. I am going to say, let's go to the bank website. And so I just do a macro, and I'm going to run a program. Do I have it in here? Oh, I don't have it in there still. And quickly I'm going to grab the Internet Explorer shortcut, which is, and right there's the Internet Explorer. It's typically in Program Files, Internet Explorer. And then I just put my website, which is here, we'll call it efirstbank.com. And now I can go ahead and save that. So now I have my bank website. And when I click that button, oh, I spelled it wrong. So let's go back to receivables. Let's put an N in there. And so now when I click that and switch to Internet Explorer, it opens up my bank website. So if somebody's doing receivables, they can set up a button to jump into their website so that they can look at their bank account, see if a check cleared, that kind of thing. So you can do a lot with those nav menus to open outside programs, run reports, make movement around Keystroke easy. So now what I want to do real quick is look at the actual file that is there. And here I have the XML file just opened in Notepad. And if you see it's XML, there's a lot of variables, there's a lot of open and close and things like that. You can come in here and change simple things like the background color or the button color, and if you want to change the color a little bit, that's very easy. But there's a lot of structure here where, here's the buttons, the default is nav menu, and if I move down, okay, here's label, where it's laid out, the colors. You can stick graphics in rather than the words. So on the actual buttons in Keystroke, rather than having a word, you could have a picture of, like for First Bank, you could have the First Bank logo there that you just click on and go. So you can do a lot of things there. There are also outside XML editors, and I've got one. It's Microsoft's. It's called, they gave it a very tricky name. It's called XML Notepad. Exact same file as the Notepad we were looking at, only it recognizes the XML commands and divides them into groups here for you. And all the XML editors work about the same, but I have default variables, and so here I have the button background color is 0. Or if I look down here at a toolbar, here I've got a lot of toolbars. What's my border color? I can move amongst the variables to see where things fall. And here I've got a toolbar, the name, this is nav menu, and then here are the buttons. What's the top? The text is print customer labels, the font scale. So this lets you move around a little easier. Can be confusing. It is a big old XML file. Nice thing about XML, if you type in something incorrect, it just ignores it, typically doesn't error out. But this helps you move around if you want to get a little more advanced. But remember, you don't have to open the XML file in Notepad or an editor. You can do it all right within Keystroke. And I am going to go back to Keystroke here. And hopefully I'm going back to Keystroke here. I don't think that got me there. Here we're back at Keystroke, and remember, you can always just right-click on a button and you get the navigation menu, button editor, and you can change different things right there within it all. So that is a quick, hopefully, overview understanding of the navigation menu, trying to inspire you to do a few cool things with it. But I appreciate you listening to me. Are there any questions today?
Everybody speak at once.
There's a lot to do there, and I'm just trying to touch on it so that you kind of get a feel for what's going on and maybe get out there and give it a try to see how you can do it. So I appreciate you being here today. Next week, again, is Lynn with the sales scripting, and then the week after that will be recurring transactions with Mike Tabor. So I appreciate it. Everybody have a great day.